This is Daily Homeless News, where tell the stories no one else will. In the heart of the American South, Georgia stands as a beacon of economic progress, with Atlanta's skyline gleaming with the promise of technology, film, and logistics industries. Yet, beneath this veneer of prosperity lies a stark reality. Thousands of people are living without a roof over their heads, their lives reduced to survival on the streets. The issue of homeless in America is not just a statistic, it's a human tragedy unfolding in plain sight, and Georgia is no exception. Despite its booming economy and less severe homelessness rates compared to states like California or New York, Georgia has failed to eradicate this crisis. This raises the question, why does a state so rich in opportunity still see its citizens sleeping in doorways? Why is the number of homeless individuals rising, and what does this say about the society we've built? This exploration delves into the harsh realities of homelessness in Georgia, its root causes, the policies that shape it, and the urgent need for action, because the line between having a home and losing everything is thinner than we think. What does it mean when a thriving state like Georgia can't protect its most vulnerable? Please subscribe, and share your thoughts down in the comments below, because your voice helps raise awareness and deepen understanding of how important this issue really is. The numbers tell a sobering story. According to the 2024 Annual Homeless Assessment Report from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Georgia had approximately 10,784 homeless individuals in 2023, a figure that likely understates the true scope of the crisis. In Atlanta alone, the 2024 point-in-time count recorded 2,867 people experiencing homelessness, a 7% increase from 2023. Of these, 1,827 found temporary refuge in shelters or transitional housing, while 1,040 were unsheltered, living on the streets, in encampments or in abandoned buildings. Across Georgia's 152 rural counties, the balance of state continuum of care reported 5,856 homeless individuals in 2022, with 67% lacking any shelter. These figures, drawn from a single night's count in January, are just a snapshot. The real number of homeless in America, including Georgia, is almost certainly higher, hidden in the shadows of couch surfing, car dwelling, or rural areas where counts are less comprehensive.
We are now going to one of the first homeless camps, and what we're going to do is give out some blankets that we have to keep the homeless warm during this cold season.
Life without a home brings relentless challenges that go far beyond just lacking a roof. Those living on the streets or in makeshift camps constantly battle exhaustion from restless nights and vulnerability to crime or harassment. Simple necessities like finding a safe place to store belongings, access to showers, or a reliable source of food become daily struggles. Weather extremes, from Georgia's scorching summer heat to freezing winter nights, threaten their health without adequate protection. Many face isolation and stigma, making it harder to connect with services or support networks. Mental health conditions and addiction, often untreated, add layers of complexity, perpetuating a cycle that traps many in homelessness. This harsh reality is a powerful reminder of the human cost behind the statistics and why the issue of homelessness in America demands urgent attention. Life on the streets is a daily battle against the elements in human indifference. Unsheltered individuals face Georgia's humid summers and occasional storms, with temperatures soaring above 90 degrees, posing risks of dehydration and heat stroke. Access to clean water, sanitation, or medical care is a luxury, and many carry the weight of hunger or chronic illness. Social stigma compounds their struggles. Shelters often impose strict rules, like barring those with substance abuse issues or requiring separation from family or pets. Without identification, accessing services becomes nearly impossible. For those grappling with mental health issues or addiction, estimated to affect 25 to 30% of the homeless population nationwide, these barriers create a vicious cycle, trapping them in a life of instability. The trajectory of this crisis is alarming. Nationally, homelessness surged by 18% from 2023 to 2024, reaching 771,480 people, and Georgia mirrors this trend with its 7% increase in Atlanta. If this continues, we could see thousands more joining the ranks of the homeless in Georgia within a few years. This isn't just an urban issue confined to Atlanta's streets. It's spreading to suburbs and rural areas as housing costs rise. The danger of homelessness looms closer than most realize. A single medical bill, a job loss, or an eviction could push anyone over the edge. Homeless in America is no longer a distant problem. It's a crisis that threatens every community, every family, every individual. How close are we to crossing that line ourselves? Georgia's response to homelessness is a patchwork of federal, state, and local efforts, some promising, others woefully inadequate. Federally, HUD allocated $3.1 billion in 2023 to support homeless services nationwide, including Georgia, through the Continuum of Care program. The HUD-VASH program, combining housing vouchers with veteran services, has been a rare success, reducing veteran homelessness by 8% nationally between 2023 and 2024. The HomeArt program has approved over 10,000 affordable housing units and rental assistance for 23,000 individuals nationwide, though Georgia's specific share remains unclear. At the state level, proposals like Stacey Abrams' Emergency Rental Assistance Fund, which aim to allocate $450 million in federal funds to prevent evictions, have yet to gain traction. Meanwhile, the decision to end the controversial 287 program in counties like Cobb and Gwinnett has eased fears of deportation for undocumented immigrants, indirectly reducing their risk of homelessness. These efforts show promise, but they fall short of addressing the crisis's scale. The HUD-VASH program's success with veterans highlights what targeted intervention can achieve, yet similar programs for other groups are underfunded or non-existent. Nonprofits like IRC Atlanta provide job training and resume support for immigrants, but their reach is limited. The biggest hurdle is the lack of a unified state strategy. Local governments in Atlanta have more resources than rural counties, leading to uneven support. Programs like Section 8 have wait lists stretching years, and emergency shelters are often a band-aid, not a cure. The homeless in America are caught in a system that prioritizes temporary relief over lasting solutions, leaving many to fend for themselves. Certain groups face heightened risks of homelessness, driven by systemic inequities and economic pressures. Older adults relying on fixed pensions, averaging $1,500 per month from Social Security, are particularly vulnerable. With Atlanta's median rent exceeding $1,800 per month, many seniors can't keep up. Low and middle income workers, even those juggling two jobs, are one crisis away from eviction. The 74% of extremely low income renters spend over half their income on housing. Undocumented immigrants, wary of programs like 287, often avoid seeking help, fearing deportation. Individuals with mental health issues or substance abuse, affecting 25 to 30% of the homeless population, face a dire lack of treatment facilities. The crisis's reach is expanding, touching not just the poorest, but also the middle class. 28% of Americans over 65 live alone, many in Georgia, and economic shocks like medical debt or job loss can erode their stability. The homeless in America are no longer confined to urban slums. They're in suburban parks, rural encampments, and even among those we pass daily. This isn't just a statistic, it's a warning that the safety net is fraying for us all. If the system fails those who've worked their whole lives, what hope is there for the rest of us? Homelessness in Georgia is far from a simple tale of personal failure. It's the visible outcome of deeper systemic breakdowns in our economy, society, and politics. At the heart of this crisis lies the soaring cost of housing, which has outpaced wages dramatically. The median home price in Georgia stands at $304,000, and since 2020, rents in Atlanta have surged by 18%, leaving countless working families struggling to keep up. Nationwide, there are only 37 affordable homes available for every 100 low-income households, and Georgia's shortage is just as severe. This massive gap forces families to make impossible choices between paying rent or buying food, medicine, and other essentials. The economic shocks following the pandemic, including rising inflation and layoffs, have hit low-wage workers especially hard, particularly in sectors like retail and hospitality, where many of the homeless in America once found jobs. But it's not just economics fueling this crisis. Social inequality runs deep too. African Americans make up 13% of the US population, but account for 37% of the homeless nationwide. A stark disparity rooted in long-standing barriers to stable housing, quality jobs, and adequate health care. In Georgia, where Atlanta reflects the country's racial diversity, these systemic inequities persist and deepen the problem. Mental health challenges and substance abuse affect roughly a quarter to a third of the homeless population, yet treatment options remain scarce. Domestic violence further pushes women and children into shelters or onto the streets, where the shelter system is already stretched beyond capacity. The homeless in America are, more often than not, victims caught in circumstances far beyond their control, not the architects of their own misfortune. Politically, homelessness gets pushed to the sidelines. Even though housing affordability ranks as the second biggest worry for residents, just behind food costs, it rarely takes center stage in campaigns or policymaking. Georgia's controversial 287 program, which permitted local police to work with ICE, has driven undocumented immigrants underground, making them more vulnerable to homelessness. Although some counties have rolled back this policy, the fear it seeded remains. The state's economic boom, powered by booming industries like technology, film, and logistics, largely benefits highly skilled workers, while low-wage laborers struggle to find affordable homes. This is not a coincidence or bad luck. It's a system structured to favor profits over people. For a few, homelessness might seem like a choice, a rejection of mainstream society. But for the vast majority, it's a trap set by a complex web of forces: unaffordable housing, stagnant wages, shrinking safety nets, and limited support. These conditions don't just create homelessness, they imprison people within it, making it nearly impossible to break free. Why is it that a state like Georgia, despite having a growing economy and a homelessness situation not as severe as in other states, still can't put an end to this problem and even lets it spread further? Is it because the government is too indifferent or superficial in tackling this issue seriously, choosing instead to pour most of its resources and budget into chasing economic growth? Georgia's government, alongside federal efforts, has taken steps to address homelessness, but the results are mixed. Federally, HUD's $3.1 billion investment in 2023 supported shelters, transitional housing, and permanent solutions through the COSE program. The HUD-VASH program has been a standout, cutting veteran homelessness by 8% nationwide. In Georgia, local initiatives like Atlanta's Partners for Home coordinate shelter services, while nonprofits like IRC Atlanta offer job training to immigrants. Stacey Abrams' 2022 proposal for a $450 million emergency rental assistance fund aimed to prevent evictions, though its implementation remains limited. Ending 287 in some counties has reduced deportation fears, helping immigrants access services. Yet these efforts are drops in a bucket. HUD's funding, while significant, is insufficient for a crisis affecting 771,480 people nationwide. Georgia's lack of a statewide strategy means rural areas lag behind urban centers like Atlanta. Section 8 waitlists stretch for years, and emergency shelters prioritize short-term relief over long-term stability. The homeless in America need more than temporary fixes, they need homes. Political disputes further complicate progress. Some lawmakers resist affordable housing projects, citing costs or community opposition, while others prioritize economic growth over social welfare. The real issue is a failure to address root causes. Only 37 affordable homes exist for every 100 low-income households, and Georgia's housing shortage mirrors this national crisis. Mental health and addiction services are underfunded, leaving 25 to 30% of the homeless without care. Economic inequality, exacerbated by Georgia's focus on high-skill industries, widens the gap between the haves and have-nots. The state's budget surplus, over $10 billion in 2023, could fund transformative solutions, but political will is lacking. To solve this, Georgia must adopt a housing-first model, prioritizing permanent housing without preconditions. Investing in affordable housing, expanding mental health facilities, and strengthening eviction protections are critical. A state-level task force could unify efforts, ensuring rural and urban areas receive equal attention. Federal programs like Home ARP show promise, but scaling them requires bold leadership. Without these changes, the homeless in America will continue to grow, and Georgia's streets will bear the cost. What will it take for our leaders to act before the crisis engulfs us all? The future of homelessness in Georgia hangs precariously in the balance. Without decisive and sustained action, the state faces the real possibility of seeing homelessness rise by 5 to 10% annually, echoing the troubling national surge of 18% between 2023 and 2024. Factors like soaring housing costs, stagnant wages, and a severe shortage of affordable housing options threaten to push more families, seniors, and working individuals into precarious living situations. However, there remains a glimmer of hope. Programs like HUD-VASH, which have shown success in assisting veterans, demonstrate that focused and well-funded initiatives can make a real difference. Georgia can look to successful models like Houston, where homelessness was significantly reduced through comprehensive coordination of housing, healthcare, and social services. Public awareness and support are growing steadily. -72% of Americans now agree that increasing affordable housing is essential to tackling homelessness, a viewpoint that resonates strongly within Georgia's communities. Individuals also play a critical role by backing nonprofits, volunteering time, and pushing for meaningful policy reforms. At the same time, government leaders must commit to prioritizing affordable housing development, expanding mental health services, and enhancing job training programs. Communities need to dismantle the stigma surrounding homelessness, recognizing that the homeless in America aren't faceless strangers, they're our neighbors, veterans, elderly, and hardworking people who have slipped through the cracks of society. Preventing homelessness demands a united effort, building stronger safety nets, ensuring fair wages, and embracing housing as a fundamental human right. The question remains, will we rise to meet this challenge? Or will the growing crisis of homelessness define the future of Georgia and beyond? The homelessness crisis in Georgia is a mirror reflecting our society's deepest flaws: unchecked inequality, inadequate policies, and a failure to prioritize the vulnerable. It's a crisis that transcends Atlanta's streets, reaching into suburbs, rural counties, and the lives of everyday people. It's a reminder that prosperity like Georgia's means little if it leaves thousands behind. The homeless in America are not just statistics, they're human beings, each with a story of loss, resilience, and hope. This is more than just a message. It's a call to action that demands our attention and commitment. Now is the time to stand with local shelters, those frontline defenders offering hope and safety to people who have nowhere else to turn. We must push for bold policies that make affordable housing not just a dream, but a reality for everyone. It's crucial to challenge the deep-rooted systems and structures that keep inequality alive and force so many into homelessness. Take a moment to reflect on your role in this fight. What can you do to ensure that no one in your community is left to sleep on cold sidewalks or under bridges? Whether it's volunteering your time, donating resources, or raising your voice to advocate for meaningful change, every action counts. Share your experiences, listen to the stories of those affected, and help spread awareness. Together, we have the power to transform Georgia into a place where every person has a safe, stable home, a foundation for dignity and opportunity. The crisis of homelessness is urgent and undeniable, but it also presents a profound chance for us to come together and create lasting solutions. The question is, will you step up and answer this call for change before it's too late?